Pare. Ehi. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm back in London now, finally, and I got this on the mail, and it's a Hate Wave magazine, and apparently there's a picture that I took in here, and they sent me a few issues of it, so I'm gonna have a look. I'm gonna show you right now. Here it is. So here's a picture I took of Elmo and the Sniffers. And there is the credit, of course. Very important. So yeah, that's cool. That was in the mail when I got here, so that was cool to see. So for today's video, I thought that I would talk about how to know when your pictures are good, because I think it's a struggle for a lot of people, especially photographers, to know when you've done something good, when it's the time to stop shooting, stop editing, and you have something of value that you can use. So I think the first thing you have to define is the goal you have for your pictures. If you're shooting for yourself only, so you only have yourself to impress and to make happy and feel something, or if you're shooting for a third party or shooting for other people in general, and you have to take their feedback and their interest in considerations. For me at least, and I think for a lot of people, what makes a picture good is a picture that makes you feel something for some reason. You know, a picture that sparks a reaction out of you, either because you connect with something that's been shown, if you find the style or texture or colors or subject, if anything about it makes you, you know, look at it a second longer. I guess when you've been shooting for a while, you start to get those, like, you kind of know, because you can differentiate the feeling you get from just taking a picture that you don't really care about with the picture that you really like and are excited to get home to and like edit and share. You can just feel that. I think it has a lot to do with emotion and not a lot to do with like technicalities or anything like that. It's about bringing something interesting to the surface, either for you or for the people who are looking at it. Something else that makes a picture good is if it has like a palpable storyline, if it has a clear message, if it appeals to a certain type of audience. So if, for me, shooting mostly music photography, if my picture can appeal to the artist or the fan of that artist, and that might make that picture interesting to them, and then therefore good. Because what makes a picture good is not necessarily like the technique behind it. Another way you can kind of know that a picture is good is if it inspires people, if it's inspirational to them in making them think differently, in making them act differently upon a certain situation next time that they're confronted with it. It basically challenges people's perspectives on anything that you might be depicting on your pictures. I think another thing that's very important, and this is something you learn as you shoot and as you practice your photography, is that it's important to care about what you're shooting. Because if you just go around the city just, you know, taking pictures of like flowers and pigeons and trees and like random people on the street, as you do when you're first starting off, you can tell that these things are just sort of like opportunistic. They're not really thoughtful images. So you can just, it's hard to explain, but you can just tell if someone cares about what they're shooting, because many times a good pictures of theirs is a result of them following that subject for like years and adapting their photography to better, you know, document that subject. Like with me doing music photography, but when I'm not working, I'm always sort of involved with music. You know, I've been in a band before. I've been going to shows ever since I could have a, you know, like make my own fake ID and go to gigs when I was like... For me, the documentation of music has always been quite interesting. Like, I've always like albums, vinyl, album covers, pictures, posters, anything that would document music visually. I've always really liked that. In fact, before I started taking pictures, I used to do design, like album cover designs and stuff like that. And then I migrated to photography, but all within the same subject. So I'm a little bit familiarized with the documentation of music photography. I don't know. It's something that I'm really passionate about, and I'm always seeking to improve it and to kind of leave a bit of a mark in it. Like, I would love to leave a tiny bit of a legacy in, you know, the documentation that I've done so far in London. Like, it's been maybe like 3 or 4 years that I've been documenting musicians in London, and I don't know. Also, what makes a picture good is when you pay attention to things that are often overlooked by other people or whatever the case may be. It's when you give light to a subject matter or storyline that's frequently overlooked or just not exposed enough, and you go there and make it special. I think there are a lot of things that people think that they need to perfect in order to have a really good picture. And those things would be lighting, composition, the timing, the storyline, and the editing. There's a lot of things to have in mind. And I think a good trick is to know what you should be focusing on. Maybe pick like 3 out of those 5 that are really going to pay attention to and make them strong enough that the other 2 are not as important. So let's say that you're shooting something that's very like timing sensitive. Like for me, shooting live bands and stuff like that, timing is very important because things are happening so fast that you have to be very attentive that you capture the moment at the right time. For example, I feel like composition is obviously very important, but I think it's something that you can kind of improve in editing when you're finishing an image, because you can always like improve the crop a little bit. If, you know, a picture is not directly in the center when you're editing, you can improve that composition later. So I think that's, for example, for me, that's not the initial preoccupation I have when I'm shooting. My initial preoccupations are always the timing, the subject, and the storyline. That's really important for me because you can't edit a storyline in post-production, and you can't edit timing in post-production, but you can edit lighting and you can edit composition and post-production. So I think you need to keep those 3 things in mind and as a priority when you're shooting, and that's going to help you get good pictures. And yeah, once again, these things are so relative. It really depends on what you're after and your own personal preference, and what you think is interesting in life is going to reflect on what you find interesting in an image. So you obviously can't cater for everyone. You have to find your niche. Technicalities are really not that important. Like, nobody really cares that you manage to get the perfect the perfect settings for the perfect image, that everything is perfectly in focus, and I don't know, it doesn't matter as much as the message you're trying to convey. So you shouldn't worry sick about those things of getting the best equipment. You don't need that. You know, all you need is to convey an emotive storyline. Once again, this is all quite rambly, quite off the top of my head, just like a chatty video once again. And next week, I'm planning on taking my vlogging camera around when I go to shoot. It's going to be a really cool gig. I'm not going to tell you yet what it is, but I'm planning on taking my vlogging camera around. So like from the moment I leave the house to the moment I come back after the gig. So you get to see the whole thing, like how I get ready, going there, how it is over there, what the stage looks like, what the performances look like. So you can get to see what that's like. And then I'll show you the final pictures at the end. So you have like the full spectrum of the experience. And I'm really excited to do that. So subscribe so that you can see that when that happens, and leave a like if you like this video, leave a comment, send me a question, send me video ideas, what you want me to discuss if you have any specific queries, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.